The airport buzzed with the usual chaos, rolling suitcases, rushing footsteps, loud announcements echoing through the air. But amid that sea of noise, there was a small pocket of silence, so quiet that even the hum of the fluorescent lights seemed louder. There, sitting near gate 17, was a young girl no older than 12, clutching a small worn-out teddy bear. Her name was Lila, and she could not hear the world that roared around her. What no one noticed was that her silence was about to scream for help, and only one pair of small, innocent eyes would see it. The story begins not with a scream or a cry, but with a signal that no sound could carry, but one heart could understand. Lila had been waiting for hours, her mother's warm hand missing from her side. The last she remembered, her mother had gone to check in their bags, smiling as she signed, "Wait here, sweetheart. I'll be right back." But minutes turned into hours, and the bright airport lights began to blur through her tired eyes. People came and went, laughing, complaining, checking their phones, but no one looked at the quiet girl sitting alone, nervously squeezing her bear. She couldn't hear the announcements calling flights. She couldn't understand the words people spoke around her. She only saw mouths moving, eyes glancing past her like she was invisible. Panic built in her chest as she realized the crowd was thinning near her gate. Her flight, her and her mother's, might have been leaving. But how could she ask for help when her voice made no sound? Tears formed, and she hugged her knees close, whispering silently into her bear's ear. That's when she noticed a tall man walking by, wearing an airport badge. She waved her hands desperately, gesturing, signing, but he didn't notice. She stood up and tried again, but he turned away, busy with his phone. The world kept moving, and her signal faded in the noise, but across the terminal, a little girl, maybe 7 years old, was sitting with her father, swinging her legs from a seat. Her name was Emma. She noticed everything. The way the quiet girl's lips trembled. The way her hands moved in the air as if spelling something. The way no one looked back. Emma tugged on her father's sleeve. "Daddy, that girl's trying to say something." Her father glanced up briefly. "She's probably just waiting for someone, honey." But Emma shook her head. "No." She looked scared. Before her father could stop her, Emma hopped down and walked toward Lila, clutching her own stuffed bunny. When she reached her, she smiled softly. Sitting beside her, Lila turned her teary eyes toward the girl, startled. Emma waved, then slowly pointed at her teddy bear, smiling again, trying to show she was friendly. Lila blinked, hesitant, then shyly held up her own bear. "Hi," Emma said softly, even though she wasn't sure the girl could hear. "Are you okay?" Lila looked confused. Then she pointed to her ear and shook her head. Emma froze for a moment, then her eyes widened. "You can't hear?" Lila nodded slowly. Emma didn't know sign language, but she did something simple. She took out a small notebook from her tiny backpack and drew a heart, then a sad face, then a question mark. Lila looked at it, and her lips trembled. She took the pen and wrote shakily, "Mama gone." Emma frowned and looked around. "Your mom's gone?" she asked, pointing around them. Lila nodded again, this time tears spilling from her eyes. Emma immediately took her hand. "It's okay. I'll help you." The gesture was small, but to Lila, it was everything. Emma ran back to her father, pulling him toward Lila. "Dad, she lost her mom," she cried. Her father looked surprised but finally followed. When he saw Lila's trembling hands and the message she'd written, he knelt beside her. "Hey, it's okay. We'll find your mom," he said gently, then called airport security. As the announcement went out across the airport, Lila's hands fidgeted nervously. Every second felt like an eternity. And then, a familiar figure appeared in the distance, running through the crowd. Her mother. Lila bolted from her seat, tears streaming down her face, and her mother dropped to her knees, wrapping her arms around her. The world became whole again. The mother looked up at Emma and her father, tears in her eyes, mouthing, "Thank you." Emma smiled shyly, holding her bunny tight, but before they left, Lila did something unexpected. She turned back to Emma and touched her hand gently, then pressed her palm to her heart, a silent way of saying thank you in sign language. Emma didn't know the sign's meaning, but she felt it deeply. That night, as they all left the airport, Emma asked her father, "Daddy, how do you say friend without words?" Her father smiled. "Maybe you just show it." And somewhere in the quiet, Lila's voice, though never heard, had already spoken louder than words ever could, because sometimes, it's not the loudest cry that saves us. It's the one heart that listens in silence. Hook for viewers, opening line for video narration. In a world full of noise, a poor deaf girl gave a silent cry for help in a crowded airport, but no one heard her, until one little girl looked up.